Ladies and gentlemen, trading can be one of the most exciting and rewarding ventures, but it's also one of the most mentally challenging. Many traders focus intensely on strategies, charts, and market data, but often overlook the most important element of all, their own mind. When we talk about trading, one of the hardest truths to accept is this: losses are inevitable. It's not something you can wish away or outsmart. The market, by its very nature, is unpredictable, and if you step into it thinking you'll never lose, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. The sooner you come to terms with this reality, the better off your mind and your trading will be. You see, the problem isn't losing itself. The problem is how most traders respond to losing. When a trade goes against you, emotions flare, fear creeps in, sometimes paralyzing your ability to think clearly. You might start doubting your strategy, questioning your decisions, or worse, doubting yourself entirely. This is where many people lose not just money, but their peace of mind. They lose their confidence and eventually their sanity. But what if I told you that losing is actually a sign that you're playing the game correctly? That's right. Losses mean you're engaged, that you're making decisions and taking action. They're feedback, not a verdict. In fact, some of the most successful traders you'll ever meet have experienced devastating losses. What sets them apart is that they didn't let those losses define them. Instead, they learned from each one and moved forward with greater wisdom. You must shift your mindset from fearing loss to embracing it as part of the journey. When you make this mental adjustment, you no longer see losses as personal attacks or failures, but as necessary moments of growth. Each loss holds a lesson, a piece of information that, if you're willing to listen, can refine your approach and improve your results. This isn't just abstract advice. Think about it practically. If you never lost a trade, would you even be testing your limit? Would you be pushing your strategy to its edge, learning how to adapt? Without losses, there's no way to measure what's working and what isn't. Losses create contrast. They sharpen your understanding of risk and reward. Accepting losses also means accepting imperfection. The market will never be fully predictable. No matter how much data you analyze, no matter how sophisticated your tools, there will always be an element of chance. Trying to control or eliminate that element only adds pressure and stress. When you accept that uncertainty as part of the game, you free your mind from unrealistic expectations. You can then focus on what you can control: your preparation, your discipline, and your response. One powerful way to embrace losses is to view them as investments in your education. Just like a student who makes mistakes to learn a subject deeply, you need to make small, controlled losses to understand the market's language. Don't avoid losses by overtrading or chasing after sure thing. Instead, plan for losses by setting reasonable stop-loss orders and managing your risk. This protects your capital and your peace of mind. The emotional reaction to losses can be intense, but remember this: the market doesn't intend to harm you. It's not personal. The market is simply responding to countless forces beyond your control: economics, politics, human psychology. You're navigating a vast, complex system. Holding on to anger or frustration only clouds your judgment and leads to impulsive decisions that compound your loss. When you accept losses as part of trading, you also build emotional resilience. You're less likely to chase losses out of desperation or revenge. Instead, you treat each trade with humility and patience. You acknowledge that every outcome, win or lose, is an opportunity to grow. Let me ask you this: have you ever noticed how a losing trade sometimes reveals hidden weaknesses in your approach? Maybe you entered too late, or your risk management wasn't tight enough. Maybe your emotions got the better of you. These moments of loss highlight areas where you can improve. They shine a light on the blind spots that success can sometimes obscure. So don't run from your losses or let them break your spirit. Face them head on, analyze them honestly, learn from them deeply, and then, most importantly, move on. Don't dwell on past mistakes or let them define your future. Your focus should always be on the next trade, the next opportunity to apply what you've learned. By accepting losses as a natural and valuable part of trading, you protect your mental well-being. You reduce the fear that can freeze you, the frustration that can cloud you, and the anxiety that can exhaust you. This acceptance creates a stable foundation from which you can trade confidently and calmly. Remember, trading isn't about avoiding loss, it's about managing loss. It's about controlling risk and protecting your capital so that you can stay in the game long enough to reap the rewards. When you see losses this way, they become allies rather than enemies. This perspective is essential because the mind is your greatest asset in trading. You can have the best strategy in the world, but if your emotions run wild every time you lose, you'll sabotage your own success. Mental discipline is what separates the hobbyists from the professionals, the casual players from those who thrive. So embrace the loss. Let them teach you, strengthen you, and humble you. Keep your focus not on the individual win or loss, but on the steady path of learning and improvement. That is how you trade without losing your mind. Trading is not just about numbers, charts, or strategy. More than anything, it's about managing your emotions, because emotions have a way of hijacking even the most well thought out plans. When you trade, your mind is constantly under pressure. Fear, greed, impatience, they all lurk just beneath the surface, waiting for a chance to take over. If you're not prepared to manage these emotions, you risk making decisions that will cost you more than money. They can cost you your peace of mind. The truth is, emotions are neither good nor bad. They're part of being human. You can't simply switch them off or pretend they don't exist when you're staring at the market's ups and downs. What you can do, however, is learn to recognize them and keep them from controlling your actions. That's where the real discipline lies. Let me share something that many traders don't realize right away. The market itself doesn't care about your feelings. It's indifferent. Whether you're scared or excited, whether you're anxious or confident, the market moves according to supply, demand, and countless other factors you can't control. So if you let your emotions dictate your trades, you're reacting to your own inner state, not to the actual market conditions. This is why it's essential to develop a clear, detailed trading plan before you ever place a trade. Your plan should include your entry and exit points, your stop-loss levels, your position size, and your goals for the trade. When you have this plan in place, you create a roadmap to follow. And when emotions start to rise, you can remind yourself of the plan and stick to it instead of making impulsive choices. Imagine you've done your research, identified a promising opportunity, and entered a trade according to your plan, but suddenly, the market moves against. Panic starts to creep in. Your heart races. You begin to doubt everything. In that moment, it's easy to make a rash decision. Maybe you close the trade too early, cutting your losses but missing the chance for a turnaround. Or maybe you hold on far too long, hoping the market will come back, only to watch your losses grow. Either way, you've allowed fear to override logic. Managing emotions means catching these feelings as they arise and choosing not to act on them immediately. One powerful technique is to pause and breathe. When you feel that surge of anxiety or excitement, take a deep breath and step back mentally. Give yourself a moment to think clearly. This small pause can be enough to prevent you from reacting impulsively. Another helpful practice is journaling. Write down how you feel before, during, and after your trades. Over time, you'll start to notice patterns in your emotional responses. Maybe you find that you tend to become overconfident after a big win, or that you get overly cautious after a loss. Awareness is the first step toward control. Once you know your emotional triggers, you can prepare for them and build strategies to handle them better. It's also important to remind yourself that you don't need to be right all the time. Perfection is not the goal. Trying to be right on every trade is a fast track to frustration. Instead, your job is to follow your plan consistently and manage your risk. When you take this pressure off yourself, the emotional roller coaster calms down. Greed is another powerful emotion that can cloud judgment. When a trade is going well, it's tempting to hold on longer than planned, chasing after bigger profits. But this often leads to giving back gains, or even turning a winner into a loser. Discipline means sticking to your exit strategy, knowing that a small profit taken consistently over many trades is far better than chasing huge wins that rarely come. On the flip side, impatience can push you into trades that don't fit your plan just because you want to be active in the market. This FOMO, fear of missing out, can lead to reckless decisions and unnecessary losses. Remember, sometimes the best trade is no trade at all. Waiting for the right opportunity is a skill as valuable as any technical analysis. You must also understand the importance of mental breaks. Trading can be intense. Spending hours staring at screens and watching the market's every twitch will wear down your focus and increase emotional reactivity. Set limits on your trading time. Take breaks to clear your mind, stretch, or step outside. A refreshed mind is a calmer, more rational mind. Above all, remember that the goal is not to eliminate emotion, that's impossible, but to prevent your emotions from controlling your trading decisions. When fear or greed threaten to take over, lean on your plan, your discipline, and your self-awareness. Train your mind like an athlete trains their body. With practice, you will build the mental strength to stay steady, even when the market tries to shake you. This ability to manage emotions is what separates the successful trader from the emotional gambler. The gambler lets their feelings decide when to enter and exit, chasing highs and trying to avoid lows. The successful trader respects their emotions, but doesn't surrender to them. They use their feelings as information, but rely on their strategy and discipline to guide their actions. Finally, it helps to remember why you're trading in the first place. Whether it's to build wealth, gain financial freedom, or provide for your family, keeping your purpose in mind can help you stay grounded. When emotions threaten to hijack your decisions, remind yourself of your bigger picture. This perspective helps keep short-term ups and downs in balance. So managing your emotions means building a fortress of discipline, awareness, and patience around your trade. It means preparing yourself mentally before entering the market, sticking to your plan, and not allowing the inevitable ups and downs to dictate your choices. It means pausing, reflecting, and learning from each experience, rather than reacting impulsively. When you master this, trading no longer becomes a source of anxiety or frustration. Instead, it becomes a controlled, purposeful activity, one where your mind stays calm, clear, and confident. Trading often tempts us to focus on the outcome, the dollar signs, the wins, the losses, and it's understandable why. After all, the goal is to make money. But this obsession with results is one of the most dangerous traps for any trader. It breeds impatience, frustration, and often reckless decisions that unravel even the best strategies. The secret to lasting success, however, lies not in fixating on the outcome, but in focusing on the process. When you focus on the process, you shift your attention from things you cannot control, the unpredictable market moves, the profit or loss of any single trade, to things you can control. Your research, your discipline, your strategy, and your risk management. This is where your true power as a trader lies. Let me explain why this mindset is so crucial. The market is volatile and unpredictable by nature. Every day, countless factors influence its movements. Economic reports, geopolitical events, technological changes, and the unpredictable psychology of millions of traders worldwide. You cannot predict or control these external forces no matter how hard you try. Trying to do so will only drain your energy and cloud your judgment. Instead, what you can control is your approach to trading. This means developing a sound strategy that is rooted in careful analysis and tested over time. It means having rules for when to enter a trade, how much risk to take, and when to exit. It means following your plan consistently, regardless of whether the trade is winning or losing at any given moment. When your focus is on the process, you learn to celebrate the small victories, sticking to your rules, managing your risk well, maintaining discipline under pressure. These daily habits are the foundation for long-term success. They create a reliable framework that will serve you well across the highs and lows of the market. Conversely, when your attention is fixed on the outcome, you become vulnerable to emotional swings. A single loss can feel like a catastrophe, leading you to abandon your plan or make impulsive trades to recover quickly. A single win can inflate your confidence, causing you to overtrade or take excessive risks. This roller coaster of emotion undermines consistency and ultimately your performance. Focusing on the process also helps you cultivate patience. Trading is not a sprint, it's a marathon. Success comes from consistent, steady progress, not from chasing quick wins. When you fixate on the outcome, impatience can push you into poor decisions, jumping into trades too soon, holding positions too long, or abandoning strategies prematurely. This process mindset invites you to trust your preparation and stay the course. It's like planting a tree. You don't expect fruit the day after you plant the seed. You care for it day by day, watering it, making sure it has sunlight, pruning it carefully. The fruit comes in its own time. Similarly, trading success comes from nurturing your process consistently. Another important aspect of focusing on the process is keeping detailed records of your trades. When you document your trades and reflect on what you did right and what you did wrong, you're engaging in a learning cycle that helps refine your process. This habit keeps you objective and focused on improvement rather than being swept away by the emotion of individual outcomes. Remember, no single trade defines you or your ability. What defines you is the quality and consistency of your process over time. A few losses or gains don't change the path you're on. They're simply part of the journey. When you embrace process over outcome, you also reduce stress. The constant worry about making a profit on every trade can be exhausting and paralyzing. But when your goal is to execute your strategy consistently and manage your risk, you remove that pressure. You create space for calm, rational decision-making, even when the market moves unpredictably. This doesn't mean you ignore the results altogether. Results are the natural consequence of a disciplined process. But you measure your success not by every trade's outcome, but by how well you stick to your process. Over time, a well-executed process will lead to positive results. Finally, focusing on the process builds humility and resilience. It reminds you that no matter how skilled or experienced you become, the market will always surprise you. Your job is not to conquer the market, but to respond wisely, consistently, and patiently. This humility keeps you grounded and open to learning, which are essential traits for anyone who wants to thrive in trading. Trading is often seen as a battle against the market, a struggle to outsmart charts and forecasts. But there's a deeper challenge at play, one that is internal and much more demanding. That challenge is building mental resilience. It's the quiet strength that keeps you steady when everything around you seems chaotic. It's what allows you to stay focused, patient, and clear-headed despite the inevitable ups and downs of trading. Mental resilience isn't about never feeling stress or disappointment. It's not about being stoic or emotionless. It's about how you respond when those moments come. It's the ability to bounce back after setbacks, to learn from mistakes without being crushed by them, and to keep your vision steady even when the path isn't easy. Trading is a marathon, not a sprint. The markets will test you. They will throw surprises your way, and they will challenge your confidence. Without resilience, these challenges can become overwhelming, leading to frustration, fear, and eventually burnout. But with resilience, you develop a kind of armor, not impenetrable, but flexible. This armor protects your mind and keeps you in the game longer. One of the foundations of mental resilience is patience. The desire for instant success can tempt you to chase quick profits, but trading success usually comes slowly and steadily. Patience means resisting the urge to overtrade or jump into risky trades because you're bored or anxious. It means waiting for the right setups and trusting your strategy even when the market seems to mock your discipline. Patience also helps you endure the inevitable drawdowns, the periods when your account balance shrinks and your confidence wavers. Without resilience, these moments can feel like failure, and you might be tempted to abandon your plan or take reckless risks to recover. Resilience helps you see these drawdowns as part of the process, temporary phases that you can survive and learn from. Another crucial element of resilience is perspective. Trading is just one part of your life, not your entire identity. When you keep this perspective, losses and setbacks don't define you. You are more than your trading account balance. This mindset frees you from the pressure to prove yourself with every trade and allows you to maintain emotional balance. Building resilience also means cultivating a growth mindset, the belief that your abilities and skills can improve through effort and learning. Instead of seeing mistakes as evidence of failure, you see them as valuable feedback. Each mistake becomes an opportunity to sharpen your skills, refine your strategy, and grow stronger. This growth mindset encourages you to seek knowledge, to reflect honestly on your trades, and to remain humble. Humility is a powerful part of resilience. It keeps you open to new ideas and helps you avoid the trap of arrogance, which can lead to reckless decisions and unnecessary losses. Resilience is also built through preparation. The more thoroughly you prepare, whether that's researching the market, testing your strategy, or planning your trades, the more confident and resilient you become. Preparation reduces uncertainty and gives you a clear framework to operate within, which helps you stay calm under pressure. In the face of stress, resilience involves self-care as well. Trading can be mentally taxing, and neglecting your physical and emotional well-being will weaken your ability to cut. Regular breaks, physical exercise, healthy sleep, and time away from the screen are not luxuries. They are necessities for maintaining mental strength. Support from others can also bolster resilience. Surround yourself with people who understand the challenges you face, mentors, fellow traders, or friends, and don't hesitate to seek guidance or encouragement when needed. Isolation can amplify stress, but connection builds strength. Lastly, resilience is about persistence. The market may test your limits, but each day you show up and apply yourself, you build a habit of endurance. You learn to accept setbacks without losing heart and to keep moving forward even when progress feels slow. Remember, mental resilience is not a fixed trait, it's a skill you develop. It requires patience, perspective, humility, preparation, self-care, support, and persistence. These qualities combined will help you navigate the inevitable challenges of trading with grace and strength. So, as you continue on your trading journey, commit to building your resilience. Let it be the foundation that holds you steady through the storms, allowing you to trade without losing your mind. One of the biggest challenges traders face is the temptation to let emotions color their perceptions. When the market moves against you, fear can cloud your judgment. You might start imagining worst-case scenarios, panicking, and closing trades prematurely. On the flip side, when a trade goes in your favor, greed and overconfidence may take hold, tempting you to push your luck beyond reason. This emotional swing can lead to impulsive decisions that undermine your strategy. Objectivity means recognizing these emotional pulls and consciously choosing to set them aside. It means observing your trades as an impartial spectator, focusing on facts and data rather than stories your mind wants to tell. When you adopt this stance, you empower yourself to respond logically instead of reacting emotionally. To cultivate this objectivity, you must first build awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings during trading. Notice when emotions are rising and question whether they're influencing your decisions. This kind of mindfulness creates a mental space where you can step back and evaluate your situation calmly. Another tool for maintaining objectivity is having a clearly defined trading plan. Your plan serves as a roadmap, guiding your actions regardless of emotional fluctuation. When you know your entry and exit points, risk parameters, and strategy beforehand, you have a standard against which to measure your choices. This reduces the chances of making impulsive decisions based on fear or greed. Keeping a trading journal is invaluable for cultivating objectivity. By recording your trades along with the reasoning behind them and your emotional state at the time, you create a record that helps you identify patterns both in the market and in your behavior. Over time, this insight strengthens your ability to detach from emotions and stick to objectivity. Also requires humility. Markets are complex and unpredictable. No trader, no matter how skilled, can forecast every move. Accepting this reality frees you from the arrogance that can lead to reckless risk. It encourages you to admit mistakes quickly and adjust your approach rather than doubling down on losing positions out of pride. In addition to humility, resilience plays a role in maintaining objectivity. When faced with losses or unexpected market swings, a resilient mindset helps you stay grounded. Instead of catastrophizing, you view setbacks as temporary and part of the learning process. This perspective keeps you from making emotionally charged decisions driven by frustration or despair. You can also strengthen objectivity by focusing on probabilities rather than certainties. Trading is not about predicting the future with absolute confidence. It's about managing risk and making decisions based on likelihood. When you think in terms of probabilities, you accept that some trades will lose and others will win. This balanced outlook reduces emotional extremes and helps you maintain steady judgment. The environment you create around your trading can support or undermine your objectivity. Minimize distractions, avoid information overload, and stick to reliable sources of market data. Creating routines and rituals around your trading practice can anchor you and keep your mind focused. Another important aspect is self-care. Fatigue, stress, and poor health can impair your ability to stay objective. Ensuring you get enough rest, eat well, and take breaks will keep your mind sharp and clear, allowing you to assess the market without bias. Finally, don't underestimate the value of seeking feedback and mentorship. Sometimes an outside perspective can help you see your blind spots and challenge your assumptions. Surround yourself with people who hold you accountable and encourage a rational approach. Trading with objectivity isn't about suppressing emotions altogether. It's about acknowledging them without letting them control you. It's about creating a mental discipline that allows you to navigate the emotional highs and lows with clarity and purpose. When you develop this objectivity, trading becomes less about winning or losing in the moment and more about making sound decisions that build long-term success. Your mind stays calm, your decisions become deliberate, and your trading journey becomes sustainable. Remember, the market will always challenge your mind. The question is whether you will master your mind or be mastered by it. Objectivity is the key that unlocks this mastery. One of the biggest challenges traders face is the temptation to let emotions color their perception. When the market moves against you, fear can cloud your judgment. You might start imagining worst-case scenarios, panicking, and closing trades prematurely. On the flip side, when a trade goes in your favor, greed and overconfidence may take hold, tempting you to push your luck beyond reason. This emotional swing can lead to impulsive decisions that undermine your strategy. Objectivity means recognizing these emotional pulls and consciously choosing to set them aside. It means observing your trades as an impartial spectator, focusing on facts and data rather than stories your mind wants to tell. When you adopt this stance, you empower yourself to respond logically instead of reacting emotionally. To cultivate this objectivity, you must first build awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts and feelings during trading. Notice when emotions are rising and question whether they're influencing your decisions. This kind of mindfulness creates a mental space where you can step back and evaluate your situation calmly. Another tool for maintaining objectivity is having a clearly defined trading plan. Your plan serves as a roadmap, guiding your actions regardless of emotional fluctuation. When you know your entry and exit points, risk parameters, and strategy beforehand, you have a standard against which to measure your choices. This reduces the chances of making impulsive decisions based on fear or greed. Keeping a trading journal is invaluable for cultivating objectivity. By recording your trades along with the reasoning behind them and your emotional state at the time, you create a record that helps you identify patterns both in the market and in your behavior. Over time, this insight strengthens your ability to detach from emotions and stick to facts. Objectivity also requires humility. Markets are complex and unpredictable. No trader, no matter how skilled, can forecast every move. Accepting this reality frees you from the arrogance that can lead to reckless risk. It encourages you to admit mistakes quickly and adjust your approach rather than doubling down on losing positions out of pride. In addition to humility, resilience plays a role in maintaining objectivity. When faced with losses or unexpected market swings, a resilient mindset helps you stay grounded. Instead of catastrophizing, you view setbacks as temporary and part of the learning process. This perspective keeps you from making emotionally charged decisions driven by frustration or despair. You can also strengthen objectivity by focusing on probabilities rather than certainties. Trading is not about predicting the future with absolute confidence. It's about managing risk and making decisions based on likelihood. When you think in terms of probabilities, you accept that some trades will lose and others will win. This balanced outlook reduces emotional extremes and helps you maintain steady judgment. The environment you create around your trading can support or undermine your objectivity. Minimize distractions, avoid information overload, and stick to reliable sources of market data. Creating routines and rituals around your trading practice can anchor you and keep your mind focused. Another important aspect is self-care. Fatigue, stress, and poor health can impair your ability to stay objective. Ensuring you get enough rest, eat well, and take breaks will keep your mind sharp and clear, allowing you to assess the market without bias. Finally, don't underestimate the value of seeking feedback and mentorship. Sometimes an outside perspective can help you see your blind spots and challenge your assumptions. Surround yourself with people who hold you accountable and encourage a rational approach. Trading with objectivity isn't about suppressing emotions altogether. It's about acknowledging them without letting them control you. It's about creating a mental discipline that allows you to navigate the emotional highs and lows with clarity and purpose. When you develop this objectivity, trading becomes less about winning or losing in the moment and more about making sound decisions that build long-term success. Your mind stays calm, your decisions become deliberate, and your trading journey becomes sustainable. Remember, the market will always challenge your mind. The question is whether you will master your mind or be mastered by it. Objectivity is the key that unlocks this mastery.